Alrighty, everybody. I realize that I haven't done one of these in about a month, if not over a month at this point. I hope you guys have had a great Christmas. I hope you guys are having a great Hanukkah if you celebrate. Basically, this video serves to tell people how my life has been going since the last time I sat in front of a camera and had a very long monologue. So where we left off, yes, I'm still in the process of moving. I'm in the last leg of it. I thought December was just going to be a very hard month to get through, but you know, you look down, you look up, and it's over. So what had happened was my lease ended on December 1st because my apartment complex has to be like that and wouldn't just let me leave at the strike of the new year. So I aged out of my lease, basically. Never re-signed anything, just made sure everything was clean and prim and proper and everything was moved out before I left. Then I just kind of put down on a little piece of paper my unit number and wedged it in a little keychain thing and then just tossed it under the landlord's door. And that was that, and I haven't been back since, and I haven't heard anything neither. So that's fine. I'm really happy to be out of there. There's a lot of negative energies in that building. I had to distance myself from a lot of people that I thought I could trust, but it just didn't really work out that way. And of course, I had to be vindictive and cause chaos at a job, and yeah, that's all in the past, though. You know, it's just what happened. Not proud of it. Obviously, 2-3 years older, wiser now. But I just kind of, have to sever ties when, like, someone's saying that they're not getting a hold of you and they need a favor done, but that's seemingly the only time that person ever wants to meet up with you. So I had to make a tough choice and cut someone that at one point saved my life, and it's unfortunate the way things fold, but that's just how it is. And, I kind of just broke a lot of ties with a lot of people in that apartment building. Overall, there were 3 individuals that I liked. And that was that. But otherwise, it was like a really loud, smelly place. Everybody else was miserable because it was a step above Section 8. So as soon as you capped out of the salary cap, you're done. So people are kind of at this crossroads where it's like, well, do I want to stay and keep with this comfort level, or, do the scary thing and make more money and get forced out? Because within a year and a half, I was back up to making almost too much to be living there. And I'm not gonna fucking up my thing to a fucking 2-bedroom apartment when I already dislike my life there. Not the city, not the building, just that area in general. So we left the building in the dust. I dog sit for a little bit, made some cash, was still working at this point. Moved to another location for a few weeks and finished out working at the job I was working at. I don't know if I've fully described my job there, but basically I worked at an acid facility that packaged, blended, and shipped out acid cleaning products, or even like military grade, but I can't really disclose stuff like that. It was a tough job, you know. I thought it was a very unfair place to me. There's a lot of nepotism at work, and, you know, fortunately, I was a good enough worker to be able to stay there long term compared to everybody else. But unfortunately, I didn't play the politics game because that's just not me. So when I started asking questions or insinuating or maybe even pushing back on certain ideas that were presented, I essentially became black sheep management. I would have done anything for my people. You know, I started as like a normal production line employee. Then I started training as a second line lead. And my line lead and my second at the time, they are good workers. They just weren't good for those positions. So for some reason, my training got cut short. So from like August to October 2023, I was really pissed off. They did everything they could to try to fire me. They did everything they could to try to get me to get so mad that I quit. Imagine never twisting or dropping sprayers on bottles before in your life, and now you're being asked to do this with a rotary line. Mind you, that's probably spitting out 2,000 bottles an hour of product, and you're the only one there to toss all these in. You don't even know you're supposed to do it with two hands. You haven't even been given a chance. You don't have enough time to get down and tie your shoe. And that's what happens. And I'm serious. That had happened to me. One of my days there was I was so pissed off. I was so bothered I couldn't tie my shoe. And like I couldn't get to my shoelace in like an hour and a half. I was worked like a dog, but I knew I wanted to get up to that line lead position, so I kept working hard and I didn't back down, and honestly, I did earn the respect of some of my workplace adversaries there at a time. I think that's when they were trying to schmooze up against me and try to get me to join their fucking two-faced jackal band of dicks. Anyways, so that started happening around October 2023. I had a mentor there. She was a wonderful woman. Unfortunately, she suffered from a lot of health problems, and she just never really was the same when those started striking back. But she taught me almost everything I knew about running assembly lines. So I have a lot to thank for her. And she had a stellar work ethic, and she really pushed me. You know, I really appreciated her because she never let me fail. She picked me up, vouched for me, and they capitulated, the upper management. So there I was, training and becoming a second again, and then I officially became the assistant line lead. And I did that for about 3 months, but then the same manager, she always had it out for me, put me as a trainee of the guy that she just trained up, speed trained up to a line lead within like 2 months of him starting, which was a complete slap in my face as an employee long term who worked there for probably 9 months at this point. So I always resented that he spoke to me like I was less experienced or less qualified So I started getting really competitive with it and just showing it to his face. And that really started a very months-long war where we were constantly back and forth. He'd get one of my people fired, I'd get one of his people fired, and they go back and fucking forth. Well, it was getting too explosive, and it was getting really heated. I mean, it's the only time in my professional life I almost jumped someone. And that's not a joke. I'm not a violent person like that. Like, that is what that man drove me to. He's a bitch. He's two-faced. He lies about everything. And he's one of those people that will do anything to remove you if you are a threat. And he couldn't fucking stand me because I was good at my job. The big boss did like me. And no matter what they did, because that man liked me, I had a shield. I had some protection there. So when things really came to a head in September after the incident I just mentioned, I just got outright moved out of the department I was in and sent into shipping and receiving, where I thought I was going to be an inventory specialist because that's really what I've done most of my working life. But instead, I became a full-time forklift operator, which was actually pretty fun looking back because I got to work with like the funniest, coolest people in that plant. And it was just a different world. And the production wing of my old plant, it was very draconian. If you were caught with your cell phone in your pocket and you weren't an assistant line lead or a line lead, you were pretty much fired on the spot. Then when I worked in shipping and receiving, I had that phone out whenever I wanted to, you know. I could just sit around. And yeah, but here's the thing. I worked 4 different jobs, 2 different departments, nearly 2 years, leadership experience and all. And they paid me like shit. There were people on my lines that were there for less time and way less qualified, making $3-4 more than me. And I took it really personally. I assume probably because I was a single male and these other people had children and were married and whatnot. But at the same time, like, the fuck am I gonna do? How am I ever gonna get out of this apartment? Dog, I live in a neighborhood where I hear people get murdered. You know, I can't even get gas at a certain time in the morning because I have crackheads swarm me at the fucking gas pump. That was my reality. You know how annoying it is trying to get out of these conversations at 3:45 in the morning? It's fucking cold. This guy's running up to you with this long ass story about, hey man, can you take me down in my car? I ain't trying to jump you or nothing. Like, you think I was born yesterday? You're gonna drive me to a fucking lot where there's 4 other of you. You're gonna beat the shit out of me and steal everything out of my car. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, had to do all that, live through all that, never got any compensation, got attaboys, you know, was told about a raise one time. I fucked up one big time in my entire career there. And I guess they must have just used that as justification to just never give me a raise again. So when I found out, because I was bumped up before, but then I wasn't bumped up to compensate a plant-wide raise. So I was making the base minimum with everyone else. I did not see any reason you know, I'm sitting there running an assembly line, training 3 people at the same time, and I'm making the same amount of money as that person I'm training on their first day. That's the word I'm looking for. I couldn't justify it any longer. So I did do dickish things like purposely run my line slow or just take my time on problems and whatnot that arose on my line because they weren't trying to help me. They were trying to fuck me over at every corner. Then it eventually, I got moved. And then that other guy got moved. And we were on way different ends and it was really sort of peaceful. But the thing is, with this nepotism, this aforementioned nepotism, the other thing my boss did was promoted these two fucking schmucks that couldn't fucking manage opening a fucking box, probably. And they're maniacal maniacs. Fucking cokehead to the max. Firing everybody. When I left, there were 19 or so employees on the production floor, and I keep getting messages that more people are leaving or getting fired. Who's gonna be left? I don't know. But then, I left last Friday. They gave me a standing ovation or whatever you call it. And I was on my way. And I had just been kind of really busy the last week doing a lot of Christmas parties with my stepdad's family, my mom's house, my dad and stepmother's, shit like that, and visiting old friends, and it's been fun, And as far as going, it's going to be interesting. But I'll probably make that a separate video, seeing as my phone battery is really low. So this will probably be like a continuation. But I hope that kind of bridges the gap, so to speak. Peace out.